Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. I've had my say after that draw at Craven Cottage on Saturday. You guys can have your say in the comments below. But for the next 15 minutes or so, I'm pleased to be joined by Tony Gale, who's at the match. Going to get his thoughts on what he's seen and what he makes of Lopetegui so far, West Ham's summer transfer business, and what he's looking for from West Ham for the remainder of the season. But first, let's start with the game, Tone. Fair result, or do you think West Ham maybe robbed a point there?
Great result in the end, I must admit, because I didn't think they deserved the point, because I thought Fulham were probably far and away the better side, and I don't think any West Ham fan could argue with that. But those occasions come up in the season when you can nick a point like that, and the West Ham fans were certainly pleased with it. What I saw, they were to my right from my commentary position, and I think they'd just about given up on it. And then Bowen gets it from the long throw by Kofal, the same as Conference League final. Do you remember that quick throw?
Yeah.
Quick throw from Kofal, and Bowen done extremely well to cut it back from the dead ball line. Good first touch from Danny, and good finish. Maybe the keeper should have done better with it, but the West Ham fans weren't too bothered with that, were they?
When you got the team sheet, Tony, what did you make of Lopetegui's starting 11? Because I think there was a couple of surprises in there for West Ham fans.
Yeah, I thought maybe, and I said it in the commentary, I said, if West Ham are looking for that progressive type of play now, then you couldn't really start three defensive midfield players in Alvarez, Rodriguez and Souček. I didn't think I could see a pass between that three. You know, one of those passes that could be quickly put into Kudus, Bowen or Antonio. And I think it proved it. And I was sort of calling for a change maybe after half an hour. But sometimes that's a little bit difficult for a manager. But credit to him, he done it at half time.
What did you make of West Ham's performance? You kept me company during the game, so I knew your thoughts in regards to, that lack of person to get their foot on the ball and start moving it and dictating play for West Ham. We're pretty bad in the first 45, I thought, Tony.
Yeah, it didn't start. They started okay about the first 5 or 10, and I thought, oh, this is going to be an even game. But you can see that the manager of Fulham, Marco Silva, has been with his team for a lot longer, or been at the club for a lot longer, and the style of play that he wants to implement. I can see what Lopetegui is trying to do by getting the likes of Kilman and Mavropanos 10, 15 yards further up the pitch than maybe the team were last season when they just sat deep. But you can't get away from the fact that when you get the ball, there's got to be someone to give it to in midfield. That's the first thing. And that someone in midfield then has got to be able to receive it on the half turn and maybe get things going. So I looked at the difference between the two sides. And Fulham had one holding midfield player in Lukic, and they had Pereira and Smith Rowe in front of him. And West Ham had two holding midfield players and a holding midfield player in front of them as well. So it was a little bit difficult. Thomas, although everyone will say, well, that's where Thomas should play, if you're away from home, you're not going to be getting crosses in from the byline and him arriving late for the headers and playing in that position. It was a little bit, I don't know how they're going to get out here. And it so proves the case. It did. And fair play to the manager, he spotted it half time. And in effect, without saying so, probably admitted that he made the wrong selection in the first place.
In regards to Fulham's goal, as a centre-back, do you wince a little bit when Mavropanos did what he did, or do you understand what he's trying to do? What did you make of his role in Jimenez's goal?
Yeah, I think initially he thought that Smith Rowe's run was offside, but immediately you know he's not offside, then you've got to run towards the ball and towards Smith Rowe, who was getting to the dead ball line. So you make you got to sprint towards the ball on like a diagonal rather than a straight line, and trying to prevent a cross coming in from maybe 5 or 6 yards away from him. His recovery run should have been straight towards that dead ball line and trying to stop that cross. But Smith Rowe was quite cute. He actually crossed it between his legs, didn't he? And Jimenez got in front of Max Kilman, and the rest was history. But yeah, initially playing offside, but I think we was played onside by, I think it was Emerson, the left back, played him on actually, because he was a little bit deeper. So it was one of those ones. Yeah, the offside trap gets beaten sometimes by a runner from midfield running deep. Good timed run by Smith Rowe, but once that's beaten, you got to come back. And I just sensed he thought it was offside. Didn't really look round at the linesman, and that was one of those ones where you're waiting for that decision when they put the flag up about 5 seconds later. But he was clearly onside.
What about Max Kilman? Do you think it's just really good play by Jimenez, really good striker play, or do you think Kilman could have perhaps done a little bit better?
Yeah, Max will look at it and think maybe he's just got a little bit of a run on me, because if you're if you're 1-on-1 in the penalty area, you don't want to concede a goal with a striker getting in front of you, as he did. You know, if he's coming over the top of you with a towering header, then maybe that's a little bit different. But I wouldn't be so much critical of Max on that one. I think it was kind of caught out there. But going back to some of the things he done, I thought was excellent. I think it's excellent. And you can put midfield players in there and maybe get Max running out with the ball with the back. He did so earlier on, just got caught on the ball by a foul, I actually thought, when he drifted past a couple of defenders. And then he had a couple of spanking diagonals. The kid's got a lot of talent. He's an England international all day long. I'd put him in that international side, let alone in the squad now. Because if he's playing around the better players, I think he's going to get even better. I think we nicked him. I think he's a super signing.
I thought Jimenez perhaps heard your advice in the first half, because just before he scored, he had that opportunity where, as you described it, he went past the first post, didn't he? So when he was trying to get his shot away, the goal was no longer on his, it was behind him a little bit. And I felt that for his goal, he was almost maybe a yard further back than the previous chance. And I thought Tony will be thinking he's
I don't think he was listening to my commentary in his ear holes, So, but I remember his first run. I remember what you're talking about. And if you run too early, before the player is crossing it, has actually got control of the ball, you get yourself beyond that near post, you've got no chance. The secret is to make the timing of the run. Delay the defender. That would have been me in my day. Delay the defender. And the top strikers used to do that. Like stop, start, then bang, they're across you. They get in their eye line. Tony Cottee used to say is get in your eye line of the defender. So if you think they're coming across you or think they're hanging back, then all of a sudden they dart in. It's very difficult to react. So a good run by him, and there's good finish as well.
And we obviously made changes at half time, a slight improvement from West Ham, or a big improvement in your eyes. What do you make of our performance in the second half once we introduced Somerville and Paqueta came onto the field?
Yeah, it was better. I mentioned the midfield area, but when the balls were going up to Mikel up front, they weren't sticking either. And when Bowen went up front, I thought it made a difference. We're so lucky to have someone like Jared. So uncomplaining. We'll play left, we'll play right, we'll play down the middle. He could even play just behind the striker if you wanted him to. But when he went up there, there was one occasion early on in the second half, came off the defender, pop, first time, and that wasn't happening in the first half. I've got to say, Mikel didn't have the best of games. That happens to strikers, but he didn't have the best of games. So I could see that replacement taking place, and it proved to be a good turn of events. Somerville going wide on one side, Bowen on the other, and of course, Paqueta coming on always helps it, doesn't it? Because even when you're in deep line positions, although he gave a goal away against Manchester City, sometimes you've got to put up with that, because you'd rather your player try and hold on to the ball, look for a pass and get out of those tight situations instead of just hooking it round corners and, just giving 60-40 balls towards the defender. And Mikel, bless him, who runs all day long, trying to make bad balls into good balls. But once he went in there, Paqueta, it made a hell of a difference, because you had someone who just put his foot on the ball now and again.
Was there anyone in particular in the West Ham shirt that stood out for you that had a good game?
Yeah, Jared again on the few times that he got the ball, because he was up against a really good defender in Robinson, but he gave him problems. But Kudus in fits and starts, just a little bit, got his head down, I thought, in the second half. I saw the old body language slump because he wasn't getting a lot of the ball. And you've got to do that. You've got to be on it all the time. You're not going to have those games where you're getting the ball all the time, and you've got to make the best of it when you do get it. I thought Max was good. I thought Wan-Bissaka did okay as well. Max and Wan-Bissaka out of the new signings so far are big standouts. They look like really good signings. 15 for Wan-Bissaka, who's actually, he was the only one who could have dealt with Traore when Emerson went off. I think he thought about Aaron Cresswell and then thought, no, wow, hold on a minute. Traore's got blistering pace. Who can handle it? And it would be Wan-Bissaka would be best suited. So him and Kilman for me have been standouts.
Obviously, it's early days in his reign, but what have you made of Lopetegui at West Ham? So, not just on Saturday, but so far, it's only 5 games in, 4 league games, plus the cup win against Bournemouth. But obviously, we've seen him at Wolves as well, so he's not new to the Premier League. But what have you made of Lopetegui at West Ham?
Well, you've got to give him the benefit of the doubt at the moment. And I would say another half a dozen games. But you want to see the fruits, start coming of the what we think has been really good signings by the director of football. So having made those signings, I think we should have gone bang, put them in straight away. That's what the fans wanted to see. And I know there might have been lack of fitness by some of the guys and whatever, but the quicker you get them in, the more they settle down. We got Ward and McAvenny and Devonshire back from injury long time ago, but you've got to play your good players. For me, you've got to play your good players. So I want to see these guys all in there, seeing what they can do, because we certainly know what the other ones can do from previous seasons. But we've got to give Lopetegui a little bit of time. I have to be fair. So far, it looks like, so if you're in comparison with Fulham, a manager who's got his ways of playing and playing good attacking football, Lopetegui maybe want to do that, but you've got to give him a little bit of time, that's for sure.
So still at the minute, you're coming across like you're not blowing away, but you're patient. Is that a fair thing to say?
Oh yeah, I'm patient. No, I'm not blown away. Yeah, the results don't suggest that, do they? Really? But I always thought these first 6 games, Gio, was going to be particularly difficult. I looked at the fixtures, and they were saying we wasn't out of London, and I thought, oh, these are hard fixtures, and they're not too easy on the horizon now, are they? With Chelsea and Brentford being the last of the half dozen games, they're tough fixtures. Brentford's not a good place for us, notoriously. Chelsea, well, we nicked a win against them last season. I say nicked because we sat behind the ball a lot of the time. I just want to see us have a go. Let's have a go. I saw some good signs in the Man City game, actually.
Yeah.
What I like to do is make comparisons with the season previous. We lost previously against City last season. Didn't have a shot. City deserved to win this season, but we could have had 3 goals ourselves, I thought, with our breakaway chances. So that was an improvement for me. So I look at corresponding fixtures and try to think, how did it go? And by the way, we got beat 5-0 at Fulham last season.
Yeah, I don't do that too much, to be honest. I think there's too many changes from one season to the next, not just players, but the manager in this case as well. And obviously, last season we drew against Aston Villa and we got beat by them this season, but we also beat Chelsea at home last season. So I think it's, well, does that mean we've got to win this Saturday? I mean, I would argue yes. Anyway, we do all right against Chelsea at the London Stadium. Obviously, that 3-2 win when we were in a relegation battle with Yarmolenko getting the win, and that's possibly the most famous one in modern history. But I think this will be a good barometer, because I think this weekend's the first one where he's coming up against a new manager as well. So that, he's new to West Ham. He's working out his team, his best 11. He's got new signings. Well, on Saturday, so does the other manager. He's also got all those things going on as well. So I think the context around Lopetegui is valid for Maresca too. So it's almost like a bit of a leveler, actually. So I'm intrigued to see how he gets on. In regards to the bigger picture tone for the rest of the season, what are you expecting / hoping from West Ham and Lopetegui?
Well, top half finish. That's what I would expect. Top half finish. If we're to have any improvement on David Moyes. And also, I want a really good cup run in either cup. I know we got Liverpool in the next round, but Liverpool no doubt will rest players. We've just seen Forest beat them at the weekend. So let's not go up there and just lie down. Let's play a really strong team up there. There's no excuses about Europe this season, player tiredness and all that stuff. Play your strongest team. Go and try and beat Liverpool. I think fans will accept that. You go up there and, rather than just maybe saying, oh, we need to try out youngsters and we need to do this, that, or the other. A good cup run. That's what I would like to see, because I think it's what the fans want as well. And I think the board want it. So give it a go. It was a bit lucky, Bournemouth, mind you, to get through that round. But let's hope we haven't, lost all our luck and we go up to Anfield. Great place to win at, Gio. Fantastic.
Yeah, I completely agree. I want to see us win a trophy as well. I miss European football. Champions League back this week, and we're obviously not involved in any sort of European football this season, so I'm starting to miss it a little bit. But before we play Liverpool, we've got Chelsea at the weekend. How do you feel about that one, Tony? Are you confident we can get 3 points again?
Yeah, I'd like to see a positive performance against Chelsea, because I think Maresca is, like you're saying about Lopetegui, he's still trying to put an imprint on his team, and they take a risk. They like to play out the back, and I wouldn't be that confident about that Chelsea back four playing out the back into midfield players in that area. So press in when we can, press together, take a few risks, and let's take the game to Chelsea. There's going to be a danger on the break, but trust your defenders and that they can cope with it.
And it's time for your crystal ball, Tony. Last question, crystal ball time. Are we going to beat Chelsea? What's your score prediction?
I think we're going to beat Chelsea. Yeah, I think it's he's gradually seeing an improvement in the second half against Fulham. So I'm going to go. Here we go. 2-1. 2-1 to West.
Love that. I'll take that. Well, Tony. Yeah, so would I. So would I. Any win will do me as hard. I enjoy beating Chelsea a lot. But for obvious reasons. But my mother ended up supporting Chelsea as well. Long story short, when my mum met my dad when they were teenagers, and my dad said to her, "Which football team do you support?" And she didn't support anyone, but she'd heard of Chelsea. She just went, "Chelsea," just to sort of impress my dad that she had a football team. So what she didn't realise was at the time she's picking a rival of West Ham. So my dad was a bit so she thought she was impressing my dad, but really my dad was like, of all the teams, it's that one, is it? So I grew up in a house with my dad supporting West Ham and my mum supporting Chelsea. So my sister had to support Chelsea when she was born as well. So it's always been a bit of a personal rivalry whenever we play Chelsea. So I thoroughly enjoy beating them, Tony. But listen, thank you so much. I thoroughly enjoy it when you come on and explain things to me. So thank you. I hope you're keeping well. And you guys at home, if you enjoyed this video, please do drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up, subscribing to Hamish Chat. Tony, I will catch up with you later on in the season.
Good luck. Let's hope for a good victory at the weekend.